Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Walk with Ethan Hockey podcast. I'm your host, Ethan Black, and today we're going to talk about the games. I don't know why I keep saying shows. The games from Thursday, April 9th through last night, Tuesday, April 15th for NHL, as well as some AHL from over the weekend as well, and preview the final last few games of the regular season. As I'm recording this on Wednesday, April 15th, there's two more games on the regular season before the Stanley Cup playoffs start on Saturday. I still got to try to figure out how I'm going to do a Stanley Cup preview. I might have to do it on Saturday, just try to make a note of it. I don't know yet. We'll figure that out. But an AHL regular season does end on this weekend as well before their Killer Cup gets going. I think it's mid to late next week, I think, but there will be a preview for that one as well. So let's just not waste anything. We'll just jump right into the games as we're going to start with where we last left off. Thursday, April 9th. We have 14 games on hand here. So the first game at 6:45 p.m. Eastern, we kick it off with Toronto Maple Leafs facing the New York Islanders, and New York Islanders do get the win with a score of 5-3. Callum Ritchie getting the power play goal 10 minutes 20 into the third period, making it a 5-3 win. And speaking of Callum Ritchie, he gets first star from New York Islanders. Tony DeAngelo gets second star, and Matthew Schaefer gets third star. They're all from New York Islanders. And also in that game, Morgan Riley did get the third and final goal for the Maple Leafs, 14-4 in the third. But Cal Bridges was the game-winning goal for the Islanders. Games number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6 are all at 7 p.m. Eastern. So game number 2, Buffalo Sabres hosting the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they clean sweep with the win at 5-0. Ramis Dahlin get the empty netter 16:55 in the third period, and Buffalo Sabres do take all 3 stars. Colin Ellis, the goalie for Buffalo Sabres, takes first star. Josh Jones for second star, and Payne Krebs for third star. Game number 3, Tampa Bay Lightning visit the Montreal Canadiens, and the Canadiens do get the win with the score of 2-1. Drew Slavik getting his 30th goal of the season, and with the assist from Nick Seguin, his 70th assist in the season, and that came at 18:56 in the third period. So Cole Caulfield getting first star, and he did reach his 50th goal, by the way. Jarrell Slavsky getting second star, and Nick Suzuki getting the third star. Game number 4, Ottawa Senators hosting the Florida Panthers, and the hometown team gets to win with the score of 5-1. And Fabian Sutherland getting the game-winning goal at 17 minutes 2 seconds in the third period. His 16th of the season. And speaking of Fabian Sutherland, he does get the first star. Thomas Chabot gets second star, and Jake Sanderson gets third star. So all the stars clean sweep in the stars ranking. Game number 5, Detroit Red Wings hosting the Philadelphia Flyers, and they get the win with a score of 6-3. And Dylan Larkin getting Detroit third game-winning goal at 11:39. But Luke Glenn getting Philadelphia's third and final goal in the game at 18 minutes 9 seconds. So Dylan Larkin takes first star with Detroit Red Wings. Also from Detroit Wings, Marcel Sider. I do apologize if I butchered that name for second star. And Patrick Kane takes third star as well. So Detroit clean sweeping the stars ranking as well. Game number 6, Pittsburgh Penguins hosting going into New Jersey's barn, and Pittsburgh does get the win with a score of 5-2. And by the way, since they won, they do clinch a spot in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Actually, I said club by accident. Eric Carlson getting the game-winning goal at empty netter at 17 minutes. So Igor Shekov gets first star. Evan Macklin gets second star, and Sidney Crosby gets third. So Pittsburgh clean sweeping the star ranking as well. Game number 7, that was at 8 p.m. Eastern. St. Louis Blues hosting the Winnipeg Jets, and the Jets do get the win with a score of 3-2. Jonathan Toews getting the game-winning goal for Winnipeg at 15:51 in the second period. That was his 11th of the season. And Colton Parker getting the other goal for St. Louis at 13 minutes into the third period. That was his third of the season. Josh Morrissey gets first star Winnipeg Jets. Then Holloway gets second star St. Louis Blues, and John Toews gets third star for the Winnipeg Jets. Game number 8, this was at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Carolina Hurricanes coming to Chicago Blackhawks home ice, and Carolina does get the win with a score of 7-2. Mark Dronsky getting his 10th of the season at 12:51 in the third period. So Lagan Stone Kelvin gets first star for Carolina Hurricanes. William Carrier gets a second star, also from Carolina Hurricanes, and Antoine Fardell gets third star for Chicago Blackhawks. Game number 9 at 9 p.m. Eastern. Dallas Stars hosting the Minnesota Wild, and they do get the win with a close score of 5-4. Jason Robinson getting his 42nd of the season at 10:35 in the third period. So Colin Blackwell and Jason Robinson take the first and third start from Dallas Stars, while Kirill Kaprizov takes second start from Minnesota Wild. Game number 10, the Colorado Avalanche hosting the Calgary Flames, and they get the win with a score of 3-1. Nathan McKinnon getting an empty netter 19 minutes and 5 seconds in the third period. And since they won this game, they actually clinched the 2025-2026 President's Trophy. And Colorado Avalanche do take all 3 stars. Martin Necas for first star, Mackenzie Blackwood for second star, and Nathan McKinnon getting the third star. Game number 11, Nashville Predators coming to Utah Yamath, and Utah Yamath getting the win on home ice with a score of 4-1. Dale Guthrie getting his 39th for the season at 6 minutes 5 seconds in the third period before Eric Hill getting a power play goal at 10 minutes 22 seconds, getting Predators' only goal in the game. So Utah did take all 3 stars. Clayton Keller first star, Crowd Fed Legma for second star, and Nick Schmaltz for third. And by the way, since Utah won, they do get a spot in the playoffs, but they take one of the wild card spots in the West. Game number 12 at 10 p.m. Eastern. Anaheim Ducks hosting the San Jose Sharks here, Battle California here. And Anaheim does get the win with a score of 6-1. Frank Fratto get his 5th of the season, getting the game winning goal at 17 minutes and 32 seconds in the third period. And Anaheim Ducks do take all 3 stars. John Carlson for first star, Leo Carlson for second star, and Beckett Sennigan for third star. Game number 13, Seattle Kraken hosting the Vegas Golden Knights, I should say. And they do get the win on home ice with the score of 4-3 in the shootout. The shootout winner went to Berkeley Cotton to get the shootout win. And he actually takes first star from Seattle Kraken, Mark Stone from second star for Vegas Golden Knights, and Vince Dunn for third star from the Seattle Kraken. And the 14th and final game at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. LA Kings hosted the Vancouver Canucks, and they get the win with the score of 4-1. And the game-winning goal went to Trevor Moore at 9 minutes in third period. And Andrew Kemp gets first star for LA Kings, Antoine Forsberg second star, and Trey Brennan for third star, all 3 from LA Kings. And then there's no games on Friday, April 10th, which was actually kind of a little surprising, not going to lie. So we're just going to go right into the Saturday, April 11th games, and there was 15 on hand here. So the first game at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, Boston Bruins hosted the Tampa Bay Lightning, and unfortunately they lose on home ice as Tampa Bay gets to win with the score of 2-1. Emil Lindbergh in his 4th of the season at 18:25 in the third period, and Tampa Bay Lightning takes the first 2 stars, and Jeremy Swayman gets third star from Boston Bruins. Andrew Fasky gets second star, and Emil Lindbergh gets the first star. Game number 2 at 1 p.m. Eastern, Ottawa Senators visit New York Islanders, and they win on their home ice with a score of 3-0. Michael Armdale gets the empty netter 17:29. And all Senators do take all 3 stars. Really great gets first star. Jake Center gets second star, and then Amadio gets the third and final star. Game number 3, Washington Capitals coming visiting the Pittsburgh Penguins on their home ice, and the visiting team, the Washington Capitals, get the win over Pittsburgh Penguins with a score of 6-3. Alex Ovechkin getting his 32nd of the season on an empty netter at 16:22 in the third period. So Ovechkin does take the first star for Washington Capitals. Elias Protes gets second star with Washington Capitals, and Kevin Hayes gets the Pittsburgh Penguins' only star on here. And yes, I did make an oopsies. I wrote Boston Bruins on here by accident. I do apologize. So I do apologize. Game number 4, we go to LA Kings hosting the Edmonton Oilers, and they get to win with the score of 1-0. And it only came in the first period, 7:34, with Atari Panarin getting his 28th of the season. And by the way, since LA won, St. Louis and Seattle are eliminated from playoff contention. So first star, Enes Kopitar from LA Kings, Antoine Forsberg gets second star, and Atari Panarin for third star, and all 3 are from LA Kings. Game number 5, New Jersey Devils visiting Detroit Red Wings, and the Devils get the win with a score of 5-3. And by this was at 5 p.m. Eastern. So the games 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 9 are all 5 p.m. Eastern. Dawson Mercer getting the empty netter, the game-winning goal for New Jersey Devils, and an empty netter at 19 minutes for the minute left in the game. So Jesper Pratt and Jack Hughes take the first and third for New Jersey Devils. Jesper Pratt gets first star, Jack Hughes gets third, and Ahmet Finay from the Detroit Red Wings gets second star. And since Detroit lost, but they are eliminated from contention, which means Boston and Ottawa are in the playoffs, and they both take the East wildcard sides. Determine which ones get 1 and 2. We'll talk about that when we get later on the games. Game number 6, Chicago Blackhawks hosting the St. Louis Blues, but unfortunately they lose on home ice with a score of 5-3. Ilya Mikheyev gets 18th of the season at 13:35 left in the third period, and he actually gets first star for Chicago Blackhawks. Todd Tucker for second star for St. Louis Blues, and Jonathan Bergen from the St. Louis Blues gets third star. Game number 7, Nashville Predators hosting the Minnesota Wild, and they get the win on home ice with a score of 2-1. Game-winning goal came from the second period, 6:34 from Matthew Wood, getting his 17th of the season. But Minnesota getting their only goal from Michael McCrann, who got his 7th at 6 minutes, 54 seconds in the third period. And National Predators should take all 3 stars, as Steven Stamkos gets first star, Matthew Wood second star, and Julius Anel gets the third star. Game number 8, New York Rangers visiting the Dallas Stars, and Dallas Stars gets to win a home ice with a score of 2-0. And that came at 19 minutes, 1 second, third period from Jason Robinson getting the empty netter. That his 44th of the season. And actually, he only got the 2 goals in this game because he got his 43rd one at 12:49 third period on a power play, and then before getting the empty netter. So he takes first start from Dallas Stars. Jake Oettinger, second start from Dallas Stars. And Igor Shesterkin gets the third start for the New York Rangers. Game number 5, this is also 5 p.m. Carolina Hurricanes visiting the Utah Mammoth, and they get the win over Utah with a score of 4-1. As Sean Walker get his 9th of the season at empty netter in 1937. Jordan Staal and Frederick Anderson get the first third for Carolina Hurricanes. Jordan gets first star, Frederick gets third, and Dylan Goodyear gets second star from the Utah Mammoth. Game number 10, Toronto Maple Leafs hosting the Florida Panthers, and the Panthers gets the win with a score of 6-2. With Thomas Nosek gets the empty netter 18 minutes, 7 seconds in the third period. Mackie Samoskov gets first star for Florida Panthers. William Nylander get from the Toronto Maple Leafs second star. And into Leo Strand, I do apologize if I butchered that name, gets third star for the Florida Panthers. Game number 11, Montreal Canadiens hosting the Columbus Blue Jackets. And unfortunately, the Montreal Canadiens do fall to the Blue Jackets with a score of 5-2 in their home ice. Charlie Cole getting the power play goal at 10 minutes into the third period, getting his 20th of the season, and he does take first star for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Also, Columbus Blue Jackets, Marchkano gets second star, and Booner Jenner gets third star as well. Game number 12 at 7 p.m. Eastern, Philadelphia Flyers visiting the Winnipeg Jets, and they get the win on their ice with a score of 7-1. Ouch. Nick Steele getting his 4th of the season, getting the game-winning goal in 13 minutes, 32 seconds. And since probably the Winnipeg Jets do lose a regulation, Edmonton Oilers do clinch a spot in the playoffs. And Philadelphia Flyers do take all 3 stars. Dan Fowler gets first star, Sean Coutier gets second star, and Noah Gates gets the third star. Game number 13, Seattle Kraken hosted Calgary Flames, and they get the win with a score of 4-1. And Jordan Eberle gets his 26th of the season from an empty netter 18:31 in the third period. First star, Nico Kogo gets first star. And Seattle Kraken take all 3 stars by Frederick Gaudreau for second star and Marty Benares for third star. Game number 14 at 8 p.m. Eastern, Colorado Avalanche hosting the Vegas Golden Knights, and the Vegas team do defeat the Colorado Avalanche with a score of 3-2 in overtime. And that overtime winner went to Jack Eichel, getting his 26th of the season at a minute 19 into overtime. And since Vegas, they do clutch a spot. Can't talk today, guys. I do apologize. In the playoffs, so Jack Eichel, Carl Hart, and Pavel Georgia are your 3 stars Vegas Golden Knights. And the way I said about it, that's the order they went. Jack first star, Carter second, and Pavel for third. In the 15th and final game on this night, 10 p.m. Eastern. Vancouver Canucks do get the win, visiting the San Jose Sharks, and they get the win with the score of 4-3 in a shootout. The shootout winner went to Linus Carlson, getting that win, and San Jose Sharks take the first, second start. Igor Chernyshov for first start, Tar 12 for second start, and Teddy Bluger for third start for the Vancouver Canucks. So that was the Saturday games. We go to Sunday, April 12th. 6 games on tap here as we kick off the Sunday games with Game 1, 3 p.m. Eastern, with Washington Capitals hosting the Pittsburgh Penguins again. Don't know why I wrote Boston. I think I was just speed type. I just forgot. Anyway, I do pull it. Defeat Pittsburgh Penguins with a score of 3-0. Connor McMichael, his 14th of the season, and emptied out 17 minutes and 16 seconds in the third period. And the Washington Capitals do take all 3 starts. Alex Ovechkin gets first start. Logan Thompson second star, and Connor McMichael gets the third star. Game number 2, New York Islanders host the Montreal Canadiens, and Montreal do get the win with the score of 4-1. But Islanders had to win to stay alive for the playoffs, but unfortunately they don't. They are eliminated from contention. Zachary Bernal get his 12th of the season with 15 seconds left in the period. There, Nick Suzuki, Lance Hudson, and Jacob Fowler are your 3 stars for Montreal Canadiens. Suzuki first star, Hudson your second star, and Fowler your third star. Then we go to game number 3 at 6 p.m. Eastern. Columbus Blue Jackets hosting the Boston Bruins, and Boston do get the win with a score of 3-2. Game winning goal went to Mark Kalstak, getting his 10th of the season, 10 minutes 22 seconds in the third period. First star, Sean Krebs for Boston Bruins, Jonas Kurzbo, second star for Boston Bruins, and Adam Fantilli gets the third star from Columbus Blue Jackets. Game number 4, 7 p.m. Eastern, New Jersey Devils hosting the Ottawa Senators, and they get the win in overtime with the score of 4-3. Nico Hedger get his 28th of the season on a power play goal in overtime. I'll be honest, I said this on, I think on episode 1 or 3, one of the first 2. I can't remember which episode I said on. I'm personally not a big fan of power plays, like penalties in overtime. I mean, I get it, you got to call it, but for me personally, I hate when you get penalties in overtime. I think that's just kind of a cheap way to get and win, but that's just me. But Nico Hedger gets first star for New Jersey Devils. Dawson Mercer gets second star for New Jersey Devils as well. And Fabian Sutherland gets the third star for Ottawa Senators. Game 5, 8 p.m. Eastern, Vancouver Canucks visiting the Anaheim Ducks, and they get the win with the score of 4-3 in overtime. The game winning goal came from Marco Rossi, 4 minutes 50 seconds in overtime, so 10 seconds before they had to go to a shootout. Carter Gucci gets first star for Anaheim Ducks, Leo Carlson second star for Anaheim Ducks, and Marco Rossi third star from Vancouver Canucks. In the sixth and final game on this night at 9 p.m. Eastern, Calgary Flames hosting the Utah United, and they get the win with the score of 4-1. Game winning goal came at 9 seconds from in the third period from Braden Pachel, getting his first of the season. The only goal came for the Utah United was Lawson Course, getting his 23rd of the season at 11 minutes 20 seconds into the third period. So Braden Pachel gets first star for Calgary Flames. Matt Couture also from Calgary second star, and Sam Prague from third star also from Calgary Flames. So that was that game. Then we go to Monday, April 13th. We had 10 games on tap here. So games 1, 2, 3, 4. First 3 games were 7 p.m. Eastern. I thought game 4 was at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So Tampa Bay Lightning hosting the Detroit Red Wings, and they get the win with a score 4-3 in overtime. And that overtime went to Nikita Kucherov getting his 44th of the season, 27 seconds into overtime, and he gets first star from Tampa Bay Lightning. Jake Gonzo gets third star from Tampa Bay Lightning, and Patrick Kane gets second star from the Detroit Red Wings. Game number 2, Florida Panthers host the New York Rangers, and they get the win with a score of 3-2. The game-winning goal came from Cole Reinhardt getting his 8th of the season at 18 minutes and 10 seconds in the third period, and he gets first star from Florida Panthers. Daniel Toronto gets second star also from Florida Panthers, and Jonathan Quick, who actually announced that game against the Panthers was his final one ever, as he's retiring from the game. He gets from the New York Rangers. Game number 3, Philadelphia Flyers defeating Carolina Hurricanes. Let me rewind that. Philadelphia Flyers hosting the Carolina Hurricanes. Uh, but they do get to win with a score of 3-2 in shootout. And since Carolina did get a point, Columbus Blue Jackets been eliminated from contention, and Carolina do win the Eastern Conference. And since Philadelphia won, Washington Capitals have been eliminated from contention. And due to Philadelphia also winning, they actually clinch a spot in the playoffs. I think they get the final spot for the Metro Division. And Tyson Foerster is your shootout winner, and he gets first star from Philadelphia Flyers. Mateo Michkov gets second star from also Philadelphia Flyers, and Nikolai Ehlers from third star for your Carolina Hurricanes. So game number 4 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Maple Leafs hosting the Dallas Stars, but they lose to them by 1 goal with a score of 6-5. Maverick Burkrogan, his 19th of the season, 14 15 seconds in the third period, and he gets first star from Dallas Stars. Matt George, second star, also for Dallas Stars, and William Nylander gets your third star for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Game number 5. St. Louis Blues hosting Minnesota, and they get the win with a score of 6-3. And Jimmy Snugger gets the empty netter of 16 minutes 56 seconds in third period, unassisted. And all 3 stars go to St. Louis Blues. First star Colton Parayko, second star Pavel Buchnich, and Jake Neighbors gets your third star. Game number 6. San Jose Sharks visiting the Nashville Predators, and they get the win on their ice with a score of 3-2. And by the way, if Nashville lost, Anaheim Ducks do get a spot in the playoffs. And thanks to San Jose winning, Anaheim Ducks gets a spot in the playoffs. The game-winning goal came from that game was Luke Evelas, again, his 12th of the season at 18 minutes 50 seconds in the third period. And he gets the third star for Nashville Predators. Matt Costello brings second star for San Jose Sharks. And Alex Nechikov gets first star also for the San Jose Sharks. Game number 7, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Chicago Blackhawks hosting the Buffalo Sabres. And Sabres do get the win over the Chicago Blackhawks with a score of 5-1. And since Buffalo won, they have won the Atlantic Division title. And the game-winning goal came from that was Ryan McLeod getting his 14th of the season, 18:35 in the third period. So Buffalo Sabres do take all 3 stars. Tage Thompson gets first star, Alec Touch second star, and Ramus Dahlin gets the third star. Game 8 also at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Edmonton Oilers hosting the Colorado Avalanche, and Avalanche do get the win at 2-1 in a shootout. And your shootout winner is Nathan McKinnon. First star, Connor Ingram for Edmonton Oilers. Scott Wedgwood, second star from Colorado Avalanche. And Connor Murphy is your third star for Edmonton Oilers. Game number 9, Seattle Kraken hosting the LA Kings. And the Kings do get the win with a score of 5-3. Quinn Bayfield gets first star for LA Kings. Tremor, second star for LA Kings. And Matty Banners from third star from Seattle Kraken. Game-winning goal went to Alex Lafreniere on a power play goal, and it was an empty net with 2 seconds left into the period, which that was kind of weird, but okay. And since LA won, and since LA won and Nashville lost, LA gets a spot and the final spot in the playoffs. So congratulations, LA. Oh no, they were in the last year. I had a brain fart. My apologies, everybody. And the final game from 10 p.m. Eastern. Vegas Knights hosting the Winnipeg Jets, and they get the win with the score of 6-2. 3 stars, Jack Edgel from Vegas Golden Knights, Mark Stone from also Vegas, and Revis Anderson also from Vegas Golden gets the third and final star. And since Vegas won, Jets were eliminated from contention. So the teams who clinch a spot in the playoffs I'll just go from the Sunday here, from that Monday. So from the Atlantic, Buffalo Sabres, Montreal Canadiens, Tampa Bay Lightning, Boston, and Ottawa. But Boston and Ottawa do get the wild card spots from the East. For Metropolitan, Carolina Hurricanes, who are the Metro Division champions, Pittsburgh Penguins, and Philadelphia Flyers. For the Western Conference Central, Colorado Avalanche, Dallas Stars, Minnesota, and Utah Utes, they get one of the wild card spots in the West. The Pacific, Vegas Golden Knights, Edmonton Oilers, Anaheim Ducks, and LA Kings, they get the other wild card spot as of right now. So the teams aligned from the East, from the Atlantic Division, Detroit, Florida, and Toronto, Metropolitan, New York Islanders, New York Rangers, New Jersey Devils, Columbus Blue Jackets, and Washington Capitals. For the Western Conference Central, St. Louis Blues, Chicago Blackhawks, Winnipeg Jets, and Nashville Predators. And from the Pacific, Seattle Kraken, Calgary Flames, Vancouver Canucks, and San Jose Sharks. And we have 3 official first round matches of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Stanley Cup, we have Minnesota Wolves taking on Dallas Stars. That's from the Western Conference, and 2 from the Eastern. Pittsburgh Penguins versus Philadelphia Flyers, and Tampa Bay taking on Montreal Canadiens. So that was the Monday games. And we go to last night's games, Tuesday, October 14th. We had 9 games on hand here. I just want to say I do apologize for not recording last night. I had so much stuff going. I just didn't have time. So to make it, I do it today. So game numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 are at 7 p.m. Eastern. So kick off the Tuesday night games. We have Boston Bruins hosting the New Jersey Devils, and Boston get the win with a score of 4-0. Game-winning goal came from Victor Anderson in the first period at 19 minutes 52 seconds, his 25th of the season. Jerry Swayman, Mark Cassell, and Sean Curley are your 3 stars from Boston Bruins, and that's the order. Jeremy first star, Mark second star, and Sean your third. And since Boston won, they have clinched the first place East wild card side, and they'll take on Buffalo in the first round. And since Boston did win, Ottawa clinches the other wild card spot in the Eastern Conference, and they'll take on Carolina Hurricanes in the first round. Game number 2, New York Islanders hosting the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes do get the win with the score up 2-1. Game-winning goal came from Mark Dronsky, getting his 11th of the season, 14:30 in the third period. And the Carolina Hurricanes do take all 3 stars. Nikolai Ehlers, first star, Mark Dronsky, your second star, and Brandon Bussey is your third star. Game number 3, Philadelphia Flyers hosting the Montreal Canadiens, and Flyers do get the win with a score of 4-2. The game-winning goal came from Alex Bunkin, his 5th of the season, 12 minutes in the third period. Mittal Mishkov, your first star from Philadelphia Flyers. Oliver Bunkin, second star from Philadelphia, and Hunter McDonald is your third star from Philadelphia Flyers. But Oliver and Hunter were called from AHL. So, and since Montreal did lost by Tampa Bay gets home ice advantage for the first round. Game number 4, Columbus Blue Jackets hosting the Washington Capitals, and the Capitals get the win over the Blue Jackets with a score of 2-1. And Jacob Churchin getting the power play goal, game-winning goal via power play, 26 of the season. So Clay Steven and Alex Ovechkin do get the first and third star from Washington Capitals. Clay, your first star, Alex, your third star, and Boone Jenner, your second star from the Columbus Blue Jackets. Game number 5, Minnesota Wild hosting the Anaheim Ducks, and the Minnesota team does get the win over Anaheim with a score of 3-2. That came at the third period, 13:03 from Robbie Farber, again, his second of the season. Anaheim Ducks getting the final goal in the third, 9-14, that with Mason McTavish getting his 17th of the season. And Minnesota does take all 3 stars. Jesper Wallstedt, your first star. Dale Europe, your second star, and Hunter Height, your third star. Game number 6, Utah Utes hosting the Winnipeg Jets, and they get the win with the score of 5-3. Alexander Kirov getting his 7th of the season on empty net with 24 seconds left in the period. And your 3 stars go from the Utah Utes. Nick Schmaltz, your first star. Logan Cooley, your second star. And JJ Paterka is your third star. So Utah Utes having a great night on this night. Game number 7, 9 p.m. Eastern, Colorado Avalanche visiting the Calgary Flames. And Colorado does get the win over Flames with a score of 3-1. And Nathan McKinnon getting the empty netter with 17 seconds left in the third period, getting his 53rd of the season. But your 3 stars are Cale Makar, your first star from Colorado Avalanche, Dustin Wolf, your second star from Calgary Flames, and Mackenzie Blackwood is the third star from Colorado Avalanche. Game number 8 at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, St. Louis Blues hosting the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Blues get the win with a score of 7-5. Dylan Holloway getting the game-winning, the 7th winning goal for the Blues at 18-17 third period, get his 22nd of the season on an empty netter. St. Louis Blues do take all 3 stars as Jimmy Sugnar gets his first star, Dylan Holloway your second star, and Oscar Sandkefis is your third star. And your 9th and final game, 10 p.m. Eastern, Vancouver Canucks hosted the LA Kings, and they get the win in overtime. The overtime when it went to Jake Britisturk at 23 get his 23rd of the season at 2 minutes 15 seconds into overtime. And your first stars are the first two stars are from Vancouver Canucks. That's Steve Baum and Jake DeBrisk are your two stars from the first and second stars from Vancouver Canucks. And Quinn Binfield is your third star for the Los Angeles Kings. And since Anaheim and LA lost, Utah do gets the first place wild card spot. So that was those games. And then we're going to preview the last two regular season games tonight, Wednesday, April 15th, and tomorrow, Thursday, April 16th. So, you get Dallas Stars, Fizz and the Buffalo Sabres. Dallas Stars is 49, 20, and 12. Fizz and the Buffalo Sabres, who is 50, 23, and 8. That is, so the first three games are at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern. Second game, New York Rangers with 33, 39, and 9. Fizz and Tampa Bay Lightning, who are 20, 25, and 6. Game number 3, this is also at 7 p.m. Eastern. Detroit Red Wings, who are 41, 30, and 10. Fizz and the Florida Panthers, who have a record of 39, 38, and 4. Game number 4 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Maple Leafs with the record of 32, 35, and 14. Hosting the Ottawa Senators with the record of 43, 27, and 11. Game number 5 at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. San Jose Sharks with 38, 34, and 8. Fizz Chicago Blackhawks, who have a record of 28, 39, and 14. And the sixth and final game from at 10 p.m. Eastern. Seattle Kraken with a record of 34, 35, and 11. Are facing the Vegas Golden Knights with a record of 38, 26, and 17. And that's the NHL stuff. Now we're going to move on to the American Hockey League, as they had a few games from over the weekend. They had the only they didn't have games was actually this past Monday, the 13th. So they had games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then yesterday. So we're going to so from Thursday, April 9th, we lay one game at 7 p.m. Eastern. The Bridgeport Honors defeating the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins with a score of 6-5 overtime. And since Bridgeport did win, the Providence Bruins have won the Atlantic Division title because they needed the Penguins to lose the Islanders for them to win the title. So yeah, that was the only game. Then Friday, April 10th, we had 12 games on tap here. The first 4 games were at 7 p.m. Eastern. So game number 1, Chicago Wolves defeating the Grand Rapids Griffins with a score of 4-1. Game number 2, the Providence Bruins defeating the Hartford Wolfpack, also with a score of 4-1. Game number 3, Belfair Senators defeating the Laval Rocket and overtime with a score of 7-6. Game number 4, Utah Comets defeating the Toronto Marlies with a score of 6-3. Game number 5 at 7:05 p.m. Eastern, Springfield Thunderbirds defeating the Rochester Americans with a score of 3-1. Game 6 at 8 p.m. Manitoba Moose defeating the Texas Stars with a score of 5-4 in a shootout. Game number 7, 8 p.m. Eastern, Iowa Wild defeating the Rockford IceHawks with a score of 5-4. Game number 8, so games 6, 7, and 8 are on. Game 6 and 7 are at 8 p.m. Eastern. Game number 8 was at 9 p.m. Eastern as Abbotsford Canucks defeating the Calgary Wranglers with a score of 5-4. Game number 9, 9:05 p.m. Eastern. Tuskegee Roadrunners defeating the Colorado Eagles with a score of 5-2. Game number 10, the Bakersfield Condors defeating the San Diego Gulls with a score of 5-3. Game number 11, also 10 p.m. Eastern. Henderson Silver Knights defeating the San Jose Barracuda with a score of 9-6. In the 12th and final game, with the also at 10 p.m. Eastern, Ontario Reign defeating the Coachella Valley Firebirds with the score of 4-1. So that was the Friday games. Down to Saturday, April 11th, we had 14 games on tag here. So game number 1 at 3 p.m. Eastern, the Fell Rocket defeating the Belleville Senators with a score of 5-2. Game number 2 at 4 p.m. Eastern, Hershey Bears defeating Charlotte Checkers with a score of 2-1. And since Charlotte lost, they clinched the 3rd seed in the Atlantic Division. Game number 3 is games 3 and 4 were at 6:05 p.m. Eastern. So game number 3, the Hartford Wolfpacks defeating Springfield Thunderbirds with the score of 3-1. Game number 4, the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins defeating the Cleveland Monsters with the score of 4-1. And since Charlotte Checkers did lose, Penguins clinched second place in the Atlantic Division, and they do get a first round bye. Because with the AHL, with their Calder Cup, it's 23 teams advancing to the playoffs, which is a weird number, but I get why. So games 5, 6, and 7 are all 7 p.m. Eastern. So game number 5, Rockford IceHawks and Grand Rapids Griffins with a score of 5-2. Game number 6, Milwaukee Admirals defeat Chicago Wolves with a score of 4-3. Game number 7, Syracuse Crunch beat Utah Comets with a score of 5-1. Games 8 and 9 are at 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Lehigh Valley Fantasy Bridgeport Honors with a score of 7-3. Game number 9, Providence Bruins v. Rochester Americans with a score of 6-3. Games number 10 and 11 are both at 8 p.m. Eastern. Game number 10, Avis for Canucks defeating Calgary Rangers with a score of 4-0. And game number 11, Ontario Reign defeating Coach Valley Firebirds with a score of 3-2 in overtime. And since Ontario did win, they have clinched the John D. Chick Trophy. Games number 12 and 13 at 9 p.m. Eastern. So game number 12, Henderson Silver Knights defeating San Jose Barracuda with a score of 4-1. Game number 13, Colorado Eagles defeating Tucson Roadrunners with a score of 3-2 in overtime. And the 14th and final game at 9:05 p.m. Eastern. The San Diego Gulls defeating Bakersfield Condors with a score of 7-3. And since day one and Tucson lost to Colorado Eagles, San Diego has got a spot in the Calder Cup. So for each, when I was talking the Calder Cup, so basically, so 23 teams. That means 5 teams from the North and Central advance, 7 from the Pacific, and 6 from the Atlantic. That's how the 23 are built, but that is the games from April 11th. Moving on to Sunday, April 12th, we had 8 games on tacked here. Game number 1 at 1 p.m. Eastern. The Charlotte Checkers beat the Hershey Bears with a score of 6-1. Game number 2 at 3 p.m. Eastern. Manitoba Moose beat Tech Stars with a score of 4-3 overtime. Game number 3 at 3:05 p.m. Eastern. Lehigh Valley Fantasy Clean Monsters in a shootout with a score of 4-3. Game number 4, also 3:05 p.m. Eastern. Providence Bruins beat Thunderbolts with a score of 1-0. And since Providence did win, they have clinched the McGregor Kilpatrick Trophy. So games 5, 6, and 7 are at 4 p.m. Eastern. So game number 5, Chicago Wolves beat Rockford IceHawks with a score of 4-2. Game number 6, Milwaukee Admirals beat Iowa Wild with a score of 2-1. Game number 7, Toronto Mariners defeating Syracuse Crunch with a score of 4-1. And the 8th and final game on this day at 5 p.m. Eastern, Bridgeport Islanders to Hartford Wolfpack with a score of 4-1. And since the Islanders won, they have clinched a spot in the Calder Cup. No games on Monday, April 13th. So we're going to go to last night, Tuesday, April 14th. 2 games on tap, both at 10 p.m. Eastern. So the first game was Henderson Silver Knights Bakersfield Condors with a score of 3-2 in overtime. And the other game, Coach F. Fibers defeating San Jose Barracuda with a score of 4-1. So that was that. And at the close of this week's episode, ladies and gentlemen, we will go to a preview of tonight's I'll do a preview of tonight and tomorrow, and then tomorrow's episode I'll talk about the remaining games from the weekend. So we have 7 games on tacked here. So game number 1 at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Bridgeport Islanders with the record of 32, 29, 3, and 5. Are visiting the Hartford Wolfpack with the record of 25, 36, 5, and 3. Game number 2 at 7 p.m. Eastern. Utah Comets with the record of 27, 31, 6, and 5. Hosting the Belleville Senators with a record of 27, 33, 8, and 1. Games 3 and 4 are at 7:05 p.m. Eastern. So game number 3 is Lehigh Valley Phantoms with the record of 30, 33, 3, and 3. Visiting the Springfield Thunderbirds with a record of 30, 31, 6, and 2. Game number 4, Hershey Bears with a record of 30, 36, and 3. Visiting the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins with a record of 44, 16, 7, and 2. Games number 5 and 6 are at 8 p.m. Eastern. So game 5, Manitoba Moose with a record of 34, 29, 5, and 1. Hosting the Chicago Wolves with a record of 33, 21, 8, and 7. At game number 6, also 8 p.m. Eastern, Grand Rapids Griffins with a record of 49, 15, 4, and 1. Hosting the Iowa Wild with a record of 26, 34, 6, and 3. And the 7th and final game at 10 p.m. Eastern, the Tucson Roadrunners with 31, 28, 10, and 0. Visiting the San Diego Gulls with a record of 33, 24, 8, and 4. So the Calder Cup clinch scenarios. So for the Hershey Bears, they have to get a win over Wilkes-Barre / Scranton, and Lehigh Valley has to lose to Springfield in any fashion. But if Hershey Bears lose in overtime or shootout to the Penguins, and Lehigh Valley must lose in regulation to Springfield. Speaking of the Springfield Thunderbirds, they have to get a regulation win over Lehigh Valley. Rochester Americans, all they need for them to do is have Belleville beat the Utah Comets in any fashion. So the only teams who clinch a Calder Cup playoff spot from the Atlantic, Providence Bruins, Wilkes-Barre Penguins, Charlotte Checkers, Bridgeport Otters, and 2 more to be determined. For the North Division, Laval Rocket, Syracuse Crunch, Cleveland Monsters, Charmers, and 1 more to be determined. Central and Pacific actually have their teams already clinched for the Calder Cup. Because Central, they have 5, and Pacific has 7, and Atlantic has 6. So for Central, we have Grand Rapids Griffins, Chicago Wolves, Texas Stars, Manitoba Moose, and Milwaukee Emeralds. And for the Pacific, Ontario Reign, Colorado Eagles, Henderson Silver Knights, Coachella Valley Birds, Bakersfield Condors, San Jose Barracuda, and San Diego Gulls. And teams eliminated so far from the Calder Cup, clinching from the Atlantic, Hartford Wolfpack, from the North Division, Belleville Sanders, from the Central, Iowa Wild and Rockford IceHogs, and the Pacific, Tucson Roadrunners, Abbotsford Canucks, and the Calgary Wranglers. So that's all the games. And listen, I'll be back on my record tomorrow to talk about the last few games. So have a good night, guys, and stay safe.